Hello, and thank you for joining. I'm so excited to welcome you and for the chance to tell you about the all new social emotional learning program from Committee for Children, Second Step High School. Whether you're here watching live with us or watching the recording later, I'm just so glad that you're here. If any of you here today also attended our February 27th webinar and are coming back to see a more in depth walkthrough, welcome back. Some of what we covered today will be similar to what we shared then, and some will be new. During today's presentation, we're going to talk about why SEL in high school is so important and the research foundations for our program. The program's innovative approach to addressing students' diverse social emotional needs in a relevant and engaging way, and its uniquely flexible framework of resources and options for educators. We want to help you make your school a place where students are connected, confident, and ready for what lies ahead, whatever their path may be. We're here today so that you can create a culture where everyone is most likely to succeed. Thanks so much for joining. And I want to thank all of you for introducing yourselves in the chat box. My name is Jennifer Sanderlin. I'm the Senior State Partnerships Manager on the Education Partnerships team, working to develop and nurture relationships with state leaders and partners. In my previous role here over the last 11 years, I've had the pleasure of working directly with schools and districts to further their goals. Before doing this work, I was a classroom teacher, after school and early learning leader, and statewide trainer. Today, my role is as host and collaborator with two fantastic colleagues, Tyler Morrison and Dr. Kaylin Curry. Tyler and Kaylin, would you like to say a little hello and a little about yourselves?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. I'm Tyler Morrison. I work here on the Education Partnerships team, where I get to work with schools and districts on their second step implementations. I see a few familiar names in the chat. So hello, everyone. And before coming to Committee for Children, I was a high school science teacher. So I know firsthand the importance of supporting high school students with their social emotional skill development, and might even be more excited about the release of Second Step High School as all of you are, and really looking forward to demonstrating how it can be used to support your students. I'll pass it off to Dr. Curry.
Hey, y'all. I'm Kaylin Curry. I'm a developmental psychologist specializing in program creation and evaluation. And I've been working at Committee for Children for over 6 years now. And I've always been interested in finding ways to develop and leverage resources to support student success. My work has always focused on how do we capitalize on assets and strengths like student engagement and academic coping to help all students succeed at school. So I was excited to find an organization that thinks the same way I do and creates research-based social emotional learning programs, because we know that SEL is one of those effective assets that we can leverage to help students succeed. So that's me and why I'm here in a nutshell.
Thank you both. I look forward to hearing more from you shortly. Now that we've introduced ourselves, I want to take a moment to introduce you to Committee for Children. For those of you who are not familiar, we are a nonprofit organization founded in 1979, which means we are celebrating our 45th anniversary this year. It's so exciting. Through our mission to foster the safety and well-being of children through social, emotional learning and development, we positively impact almost 27 million children each year in all 50 states with the Second Step family of programs. We are a group of leading researchers, policy and advocacy experts, instructional designers, and longtime innovators in the field. But we know it's through the commitment of educators and administrators like you in more than 45,000 schools where Second Step programs are implemented that our vision of safe children thriving in a peaceful world can become a reality. We invite you to explore more about Committee for Children, our advocacy work at the state and federal level, and more by visiting our website, cfchildren.org. I'd also like to take a moment to begin our time together thinking of our commitment to equity as an organization. Committee for Children's commitment is to recognize, condemn, disrupt, and seek to rectify systemic injustices that create barriers to children's success. We're also committed to ensuring our programs are culturally relevant, affirming, and accessible to all children, especially those the most systemically marginalized. As one step in our journey to supporting equity in everything we do, I'd like to also acknowledge that Committee for Children's offices sit on the unceded traditional lands of the Coast Salish peoples, past and present, and specifically the first people of Seattle, Washington, the Duwamish tribe. So, with that, let's begin.
A sense of belonging is important because then you don't feel like you're alone. In high school, you don't feel like you're the only one who's maybe feeling a certain way or going through something.
I think a sense of belonging is important because it gives you like a connection to other people, which kind of I think is essential to humans, is like you feel like you want to be with others and you want to help others.
I feel like a sense of belonging is important for high school because it helps students understand who they are while also like trying to find out their own path.
I have a really great friend group. We're all always there for each other, and it's that kind of friend group where even though there's always like a couple people that are closer, you can all somewhat feel close enough with each other that you can talk it out. But even if I didn't have that friend group, I also have my school counselors and certain teachers that I know are there for me.
I like to see other people succeed. I love to see smiles grow on other people's faces. I like when my friends get into football teams or get into cheer teams or something like that. I just love seeing other people do what they want to do.
I think social and emotional learning should be, I guess, introduced through middle school and high school. It is a really important part of understanding who you are and understanding how to get in a group.
I understand that there's a very important balance between the student and teacher because the teacher is above the student. But when they make it seem that you can talk to them, that you're almost equal, there's that feeling of, okay, you're like me, you have the same problems as me, and I can talk to you about what's going on with me.
I do think that social and emotional skills should be taught at high school because some kids are just not prepared for like some of the emotional problems in life, and I mean, it's not easy, but yeah, I definitely think that it would be a good thing to practice.
Thank you for watching that. It gets you thinking, doesn't it? I just hope something resonated for you as you listen to those student voices. So what about you, Dr. Curry, as I'm passing things over to you? Was there anything in this video that resonated?
Well, one thing that really jumps out to me that y'all probably already know and remember from your own experience is just how big of a time of change and growth and development that high school is. The students talking about figuring out who they are and how to be successful. It really reminds us that this is when young people are laying down the foundations for a happy, healthy life. And especially in terms of brain development, it's really an age of opportunity. Adolescence is a time of incredible brain plasticity, in which the brain is more easily transformed by new experiences. And that makes it an ideal time to develop lifelong skills, including, and especially, social and emotional skills. And schools play a huge role in shaping how young people develop these positive skills, these positive self-perceptions, these positive views of themselves and the world and their roles in it. And so if their inputs during this sensitive period are also positive, aka their experiences and environments are positive, that helps them create and maintain positive habits and effective coping strategies. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. If young people spend a lot of time in difficult, unhealthy environments, lack supportive relationships, and develop unhealthy strategies and habits, those also get hardwired into their neurobiology and can be hard to shake. And even if teens don't think they need help building these healthy mindsets and skills and habits, neurobiology says that they do. So the part of the brain that deals with impulse control and self-regulation, the prefrontal cortex here, develops way behind the brain center that deals with emotions and pleasures and rewards. So biologically speaking, teens are really set up to need help from adults and their environments to compensate for this imbalance. So for those interested in learning more about the adolescent brain, we're going to put a link in the chat to this excellent TED Talk by cognitive neuroscientist Sarah Jane Blakemore, And it really delves deeper into the changes in structure and function of the brain during adolescence, how it differs from our adult brains, and what that means for how we understand and support adolescence development. So I'm going to quickly slip that in the chat. So when we began creating this program, we really wanted to capitalize on this age of opportunity to support students' social, emotional, and academic development, since we know that we had to address high school's strong focus on academics in conjunction with social emotional learning. And luckily, we don't have to choose just one focus because of the interrelatedness of SEL and academics. When you look at the research, it's clear that by implementing social emotional learning, you are supporting academics because these skills and these relationships are really at the heart of learning. You may have seen this report that came out this past fall from the Center on Reinventing Public Education out of Arizona State University. And its central message is that focusing on building relationships is more effective for supporting high schoolers right now than focusing exclusively on learning loss. Being able to build positive relationships is a key competency of social emotional learning for good reason. Relationships really provide the fuel and act as the launching pad for all of the things that schools and parents want adolescents to achieve. When adolescents have high quality relationships at school and in the classroom, when they feel truly known and accepted, they're more engaged. They learn more and they like learning more. They have less disruptive behavior in class and fewer disciplinary issues. They make better choices and avoid risky behaviors. In short, they're more likely to succeed in high school, in college, in their careers, in life. The report also refers to a recent Youth Truth Survey that I think is interesting, that talks about how less than a quarter of students said that their teachers try to understand their lives outside of school. And less than half of them feel there's an adult at school who they can talk to when they're having a problem or feeling upset or stressed. So I really do encourage folks to take a look at that report. And I'm going to put the link in the chat box for you. So addressing this need to help high schoolers build and maintain relationships is just one of the reasons that we created Second Step High School. We worked with our partner schools across the country to uncover many other reasons why this is necessary. But I'm a researcher, I love data, and so I'm always interested in hearing more from educators like you. So if you would humor me, I would love to know if you could take a moment to just share in the chat box what your reasons are for thinking about social emotional learning for high school.
While you consider your reasons and provide those thoughts in the chat box, I'll expand a little on what that report says about relationship loss. I quote, "Unless we strengthen relationships, we won't close the learning gaps. Social emotional learning is not a distraction from academics, but a tool that can help us build relationships so we can get to academic recovery and success. Hundreds of independent studies confirm that SEL positively impacts academic achievement, and recent research out of Chicago found that fostering ninth graders' social emotional development had a nearly identical impact on their academics as focusing specifically on test score growth did. When students have social emotional skills paired with positive relationships that make them feel like a part of a community, they want to come to school and learn."
Thanks, Jen. I'm loving the chat here. I'm seeing a lot about peer relationships. I'm seeing a lot about, preventing mental health issues by helping students grow these key social emotional competencies. A lot of continuation and support, from younger grades, which I think is awesome. Fantastic. So there's just one more domain of research that I want to tell you about that played a really important role in shaping Second Step High School. And that's the research behind the structure of our program and why it was designed the way that it is. So I'm going to shift us from talking about the research on why SEL is important in high school to talking about the research behind how our high school program is structured to be maximally effective in addressing the unique developmental needs of adolescents and the high school specific learning environments. So while high school is an opportune time for setting students up for lifelong success, as we just discussed, as high school educators, I know that you also know that it's a unique stage in development that differs significantly from prior stages. And that's why our high school program is structured differently than elementary or middle school SEL programs, because high schoolers are structured differently than their younger peers. So bear with me. I want to dive into this research. I promise I will try not to monologue, but I do think it's really important for us to explain the research behind how our program is structured. So let's look at the 3 different evidence-based strategies for supporting SEL, all of which we use in Second Step High School. Let's start with the one that most folks are most familiar with, which is direct skill instruction, so the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And so this strategy looks like student-facing lessons that directly teach SEL concepts and provide opportunities for students to discuss and practice in the classroom. And in our high school program, these are called student activities, and they're designed to be facilitated by educators in non-academic classes like advisory or homeroom. And so this direct instruction strategy is common in SEL programs, and it's effective for younger children. However, the research shows us that it's not as effective at supporting social emotional development for adolescents. And we can think about why that may be by considering how direct skill instruction relies very heavily on students' willingness to be vulnerable enough to share personal feelings and thoughts and experiences with peers and teachers in the classroom. And unlike their younger peers, high schoolers are not known for being willing to share so openly, and instead often struggle with self-consciousness. They're fearful of social criticism. And so we find that they're less willing to share these personal feelings outside of their immediate friend circles. And so research tells us that more effective for older students are SEL strategies aimed at changing the climate of the school to be more supportive of students' social emotional development, and then changing how adolescents see themselves and their world via positive experiences at school. And so these strategies are more effective for supporting adolescents' SEL and are really needed in order to achieve the positive outcomes for high schoolers. So let's talk about these additional adolescent-friendly SEL strategies. So at the top right, you'll see the climate strategy. And so we can help all students by creating the type of school environment that nurtures and supports students' SEL all day long, whether they're in the classroom, an admin's office, the cafeteria, or an after-school club. And so this is really about having SEL permeate throughout the school day and having SEL supports woven into the school environment and the community at large. In our program, learning experiences that utilize this strategy are called school-wide practices, and they are whole school activities, initiatives, and routines facilitated by school leader teams to engage all members of the school community. So whether publicly recognizing students and educators' contributions, facilitating community member-led learning assemblies, or acting on student feedback to show how their voices can lead to change. These school-wide practices support adolescents' social emotional growth. Last and not least, on the left-hand side is the strategy focused on providing students with experiences that help improve their perceptions of themselves and their mindsets. So in our program, these strategies most frequently take the form of educator practices, which are flexible and adaptive classroom activities and instructional practices that teachers integrate into their academic lessons across all subject matter classes. This academic approach to SEL really allows teachers to support their students' SEL while still prioritizing academic learning goals, using these easy to integrate additions to classroom processes. And so whether the educator practice is focused on supporting teacher-student communication, promoting peer learning, setting clear expectations and constructive feedback, goal setting, or fostering resilience in the face of academic challenges, these educator practices help teachers create the classroom experiences and opportunities that students need in order to develop their social emotional competencies. So I know that was I said I wouldn't monologue, and I did. But I just wanted to be able to show how you can see how these 3 evidence-based strategies for effectively supporting SEL make up the 3 different types of learning components in our high school program. Our program contains learning experiences for each of these strategies so that we can be more confident we're giving high schools the strongest program model to help them get the strongest student outcomes. So now that you know about our 3-pronged approach to how we support adolescents' social emotional development, I'm going to turn over to Tyler so he can show you more about what we're teaching and why that's so critical to high schoolers' success.
Thank you so much, Kaylin. I really hope that background was helpful for you all. So with that, let's talk about the program. So allow me to introduce you to Curtain call. That's what I was waiting for. Second step, high school. And so here it is. So have a look at some of the beautiful and sophisticated components here from Second Step High School. As we go even further, I'm going to tell you about the structure of the program and its contents, and then show you more about the program experience itself. So first, the program is organized into 4 pathways. So Kaylin, let's go ahead and walk through them together. Works. All right, so the learning objective for pathway 1, which is to cultivate a sense of social and school belonging, ensure students feel accepted, respected, and known to create and sustain positive relationships at school. We want all students to be able to say, I belong here.
Yeah, we focused on belonging to start because students who feel a strong sense of belonging at school generally have better psychological and physical well-being, self-esteem, academic engagement and achievement, as well as lower absenteeism and dropout rates, lower likelihood of experiencing anxiety, depression, emotional distress, lower rates of delinquency, violence, substance abuse. The list goes on. I will stop. But in many ways, this pathway really lays the foundation for the other pathways of learning. And so what this looks like in our program is helping leaders and educators support the development of warm, positive relationships with and among students. So students will have opportunities to communicate effectively, build bonds, connect meaningfully in an inclusive climate that they directly helped influence.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And the goal of the second pathway, confidence and capability, is crucial to creating learning conditions that build students' beliefs in their ability to overcome challenges and achieve personal and academic success.
Yep. And that's, really because students' beliefs in their own competence do more than just make them feel good about themselves. These beliefs influence the actions that students take. So when students feel competent and confident, right, they put in more effort and they try harder. They persevere through challenges and they achieve success. With more confidence, there's better optimism and resilience, more effective problem solving and coping strategies, increased engagement and academic achievement, as well as better career success and future life satisfaction. So in this pathway, pathway 2, educators give students multiple ways to achieve mastery. They provide students with clear, attainable expectations, offer specific feedback that's authentic to really help them build their confidence and competence so that they feel like they're able to say, I can do it. I got this.
And the objective of the agency and opportunity pathway is to support students in taking ownership over their learning by providing choices and opportunities to build and apply their strengths and explore purposeful interests.
Yeah, research shows that when schools and learning experiences are structured in ways that really honor adolescents' increasing needs for agency and independence, students generally have higher academic engagement and achievement again, increased self-regulated learning, well-being, vitality. They engage in more frequent pro-social behavior and experience lower levels of bullying and problematic relationships. So in the Second Step High School program, activities and practices, students really develop a sense of autonomy and agency over their growth and learning. And educators encourage students to lead and take ownership over their learning and choices so they can say, I made it mine.
Okay. And last, the goal of being in community pathway is to develop students' psychosocial assets to contribute to their individual well-being and the well-being of the school community.
Yep. So again, we selected this because of how important it is and how robust the research is. So adolescents with positive well-being at the beginning of high school generally have fewer relationship problems, lower levels of depression and anxiety, higher career satisfaction and job capability, and increased self-worth into adulthood. And being part of a community may provide powerful assets, such as coping resources, emotional support, and a sense of connection and purpose. And so this pathway builds on all the other pathways and provides an opportunity to apply social and emotional skills learned across the previous pathways and really cement effective coping, relationships, and self-care competencies. So educators are helping students develop skills to manage stress and social perspective taking to effectively support their community so that they feel like what I do matters.
Wow, thank you so much, Kaylin. That was a lot of really insightful information. So we'll see you in the chat box now to answer any questions along the way. I know there's a few that are popping up here. Great.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's stop here and reflect a little. Which of the pathways do you think would be most beneficial to your students and why? We'll also go back here to kind of show those 4 pathways for you all to be able to see that. Again, the 4 pathways are belonging and connection, competence and capability, agency and opportunity, and well-being and community. Seeing in the chat, we have all 4 of them. Absolutely, we've designed it that way, so that's great. Yeah, belonging and connection definitely resonates with me as a teacher. So important in the classroom to kind of build that sense of belonging, that culture of caring within your classroom. So important. Yeah, lots more of all of them, all 4, very different. Absolutely agree that, yeah, confidence and capability, big thing students are working on those high school years. It's great. All right, so thank you so much for those your input there and kind of what pathway resonates the most with you. Feel free to keep throwing them in the chat. So now I'm going to kind of transition to going over each of those pathways in a little bit more detail, or the different practices that make up those pathways a little bit more detail. So now that you've looked at the pathways, I want you to come back to the research Kaylin outlined a minute ago about those most effective strategies for supporting adolescents' social emotional development. Second Step High School includes 3 types of learning experiences that map to that research. School-wide practices are activities and routines designed to be led by school leaders to engage all members of the school community to work together to co-create a positive school climate. Educator practices help teachers co-create supportive learning experiences, relationships, instructional practices, and classroom communities with their students. These positive classroom experiences are designed to improve how students view their relationships with their teachers, their peers, and themselves. And finally, student activities provide students with ways to learn and practice social emotional skills that help them navigate school and the world around them. All 3 types of learning experiences are designed to support the 4 program pathways or content areas. The beauty of this framework is that with the learning that's structured and occurring at the school level, the classroom level, and the student level, everyone knows what to do and when, and is in alignment towards the same goals at the same time. It's an approach that also promotes a sense of we're in this together. And so now let's jump into the program to see what's inside.
Hi, everyone. Let's take a quick tour of the brand new Second Step High School program, starting here at the My Programs dashboard, where educators and leaders can easily access all the program content. If you're already using the Second Step digital programs, this should look familiar. From this page, educators and leaders can quickly navigate to the learning pathways: belonging and connection, confidence and capability, agency and opportunity, and well-being and community. You can also find from here program training and library of resources. We'll start in program training, where there's a convenient overview, including a video that helps leaders highlight the program's purpose, as well as the underlying research and beneficial outcomes. We've made sure that the training is engaging and informative, incorporating a variety of examples, videos, and research to accommodate a broader spectrum of learners. Educators and leaders can then use these quick links to easily access each pathway's specific training to prepare them for that pathway and learn how the program elements are interconnected. In the program support section, you'll see there are important resources like strategies for special situations, family communications, and alignment charts. You can see as we navigate sections that the user experience in Second Step High School is intentionally designed to be exceptionally straightforward, enabling swift and easy navigation. Now, let's go ahead and explore the learning experiences. We're going to choose the pathway agency and opportunity. There's a Start Here option, which takes you to the program training and professional learning for this pathway. Now, let's look at the pathways collections. Let's choose Collection 1. After clicking on a collection, you will see the 3 types of learning experiences. Here at the top left is a school-wide practice. School-wide practices are for school leaders to implement. Next to that, with the elephant illustration, is an educator practice for classroom teachers to weave into their classes of any subject. And here you see the student activities. Now, let's take a closer look at one of each. As we arrive to the school leader practice called Recognizing Contributions, the first thing you see is a summary with experience details. You can quickly learn about the types of activity and some information about the learning itself. The section below the summary is Why This Matters section. This section includes the research behind the practice and its learning objective. We've made sure that there are clear and visible connections to research for every practice and activity. You can always find that information right up front. Notice this 3-part toggle between learn, practice, and reflect and refine. We're on learn right now, so let's move on to practice. I realize there's a lot to see here, but we're just going to look at a couple of main features. First, notice that the instructions are laid out in a clear, step-by-step fashion so they're easy to follow. Secondly, concrete examples and helpful suggestions are provided so, in this case, the leader can imagine the remarkable contributions that happen every day in their school and clearly envision how to make this practice work for them and the needs of their community. Lastly, the leader is provided with practical resources. In this case, they can download a fillable PDF of the certificate. Now, let's move over to the Reflect and Refine tab. Reflect and Refine is incorporated throughout all practices and activities. There are guiding questions to capture thoughts and ideas for next time to ensure the program works for you and your school community over time. Okay. Educator practices also have some aspects I'd like to point out as well. Here we are in this educator practice called Choice Boards. On the Learn tab below the summary information, again, you're being presented with why this matters, as well as the learning objective to understand the goal of the practice. On the Practice tab, here are those clear step-by-step instructions. And again, examples and helpful suggestions are provided to quickly bring to life how a teacher can use this practice to support their academic objectives. Notice the practical resources provided to support this academic integration. In this case, you'll find an English language arts example, a science-based example, and a template for you to use to make your own choice board for students to use. This practice prompts educators to create choices for students. They can choose to learn in a variety of ways. They also have choices in how they process the learning and in demonstrating the learning. This is a great example of how students develop a sense of ownership over their own learning and growth, but in a way that's integrated with the academic subject matter. And now, on to the student activity called Guess Who. You'll see in the instructions that there are prompts to help keep organized and know what to expect before, during, and after the activity. There's a pink button that says Launch Activity, so let's do that. Once launched, you'll see in the player along the bottom of the screen there's a progress bar and a sequence of prompts to travel through, starting with a Learn section, a Practice section, and Reflect section. And at the end, you can mark the activity complete. It always feels great to track on your progress. Before we leave the student activity, I want to share another example from an older grade level in the program. Here's a video that's part of one of the student activities for 12th grade, Pathway 2, Confidence and Capability. The topic and the discussion that follows is learned helplessness. Let's take a look.
I'm psychologist Dr. Ali Matu, and if you've ever felt like there's no point in trying, then this one's for you. But first, a story. One day as a sophomore in high school, I was in math class trying to remember how to multiply fractions. It had been a long time since I had done this, and I needed to multiply this fraction in order to solve this proof I was working on. What you have to remember is this is way before YouTube and smartphones. Besides my textbook, the people around me, and my teacher, there were no other ways to get information. I hated that feeling of not knowing how to do something that I think everyone else knows how to do. So I got up, walked to my teacher, asked for help. He must have been having a bad day because his response was, "Don't waste my time with such a simple question. Go ask someone in your group." I tried to get help from my classmates. Someone showed me the steps, but it still didn't make sense to me. The worst part about this was
I'm not going to show you the whole video, but hopefully that gives you a sample of the excellent storytelling and media that we've incorporated. The last section I want to show you is the library. Here you can find all the learning experiences in the program all together. They can easily be sorted to find exactly what you're looking for example, by pathway, audience, type of experience, or duration. You can also search by keyword. Now, I want to end with one of the most notable features as leaders get ready to roll out Second Step High School, the Leader Dashboard. There, you'll find the implementation guide. This resource has a customizable implementation playbook that ensures best practices for effective program implementation are in focus for leaders and that they have a simple planning process to follow. This program makes sure you can invest in a clear game plan that's easy to follow and keeps everyone on track. I hope this was helpful to see Second Step High School a little closer, but remember, we've just scratched the surface and I hope you'll continue to explore.
All right, great. Now that you have seen the program, let's take a quick poll. What are some of the challenges you have found implementing or trying to start a social emotional initiative in high school so far? We're launching a poll for this question, so let's see what's coming up from all of you. We put some of the more common challenges in the poll, but feel free to also put your thoughts in the chat box. All right, seeing lots of teacher support or buy-in. Yep, definitely have heard that one quite a bit. Time and schedule, yeah, it's a big one. So you'll notice we'll talk more about that in a second, how flexible the Second Step High School is to help accommodate for that. Also definitely heard the teacher support, teacher buy-in, teacher knowledge or experience is a big one. So you'll see here, we made it very easy for teachers to be able to integrate these practices into their classrooms, which is a great kind of design feature of Second Step High School. Awesome, seeing some, yeah, all of these options is one, so a lot of different obstacles. I know high school can be different. I was a high school teacher myself. I definitely understand what y'all are up against in terms of implementing these type of things with all of the other pieces of high school kind of pulling you in different directions. So it can be difficult to make time. Great. And this quick poll is actually really helpful to us kind of as we continue to refine what kinds of support are needed to be successful. So thank you so much for thinking about that. So now let's address how Second Step supports you. So as you think about implementing Second Step or presenting the idea to leadership, I want to highlight that we have a model of support that makes leading an SEL initiative easier and more connected as we are partners in your success. We're here for you every step of the way to ensure that your implementation of Second Step is successful. At no additional cost, Our programs include everything you see here. First, all staff have access to high-quality embedded training resources. And I'll come back to this on the next slide, but we also offer supports for leaders at both the district and school level, including an implementation guide and playbook that helps you plan and sustain a successful implementation, along with reporting tools to track your progress. The red box on this slide is the second step community. And we have a thriving educator community on Facebook with more than 10,000 members to share ideas, ask questions, and learn from. We know that social emotional learning doesn't happen in a vacuum, and we're here to help you connect with one another. And last, to top it off, we have a friendly and accessible live support team who are available to help with your questions and any technical issues that may arise. And our education partnerships team, which I am a part of, provides free district consultations at any time. And now I'd like to focus on district and site leader supports to make sure that you know about a unique aspect of that category we've built into the high school program. If you're a school or district leader, this is for you. The Second Step High School incorporates 3 important aspects to support your success. It leverages implementation best practices, it incorporates a plan of action, and it enables continuous improvement with data and insights. So I'm going to highlight a few important resources that deliver on each of these. So let's start with the implementation guide on the left. This is a resource for leaders that ensures a guided, streamlined experience for administrators as they introduce and oversee program implementation at their schools all year. All of the essential tasks are roadmapped stage by stage, so you can intentionally work towards your SEL objectives each year. Key activities and supports are included to help you lay out your vision and goals, communicate to staff about the program, and elevate aspects to motivate teachers to use the program. And what about a plan of action? That's covered too. We know every high school is different, so the program has built-in options to make it work for you. You choose your pace and create a plan everyone can get behind. And the playbook tool that's shown here gives you and your implementation team 4 steps to complete as a planning exercise. It ensures that your vision, schedule, and unique needs combine with implementation best practices. On the right is a data and insights. This is actually an example screen from the leader dashboard in our K-8 program. So the high school version won't look exactly like this, but the idea is the same. At any time, you can click into your leader dashboard to see indicators of readiness and progress with at-a-glance visuals like this. You also have the ability, of course, to export detailed reports. In addition to the supports I just mentioned, Second Step High School also includes embedded training for teachers and staff. So let's talk about the program training. Staff can access professional development experiences online anytime. There's a program overview where you can find out about the purpose, the research, the expected outcomes, and the beginning practice. Training for each pathway is also included with a video, description of skills and objectives, and example practice in all cited research. If you're a school or district leader, it's also important to know that usage of these resources will be part of reporting. You can access any time to track how program adoption is going within your school or district. Okay, so while I could talk about the program all day, it's time to start wrapping up. And I want to leave you with this. So through our advisory groups and field tests, we were able to focus in and truly create a program that will be effective in a high school environment, and found that these 3 components are essential to its success. It has to be flexible, relevant, and engaging. So how does Second Step High School excel in these three aspects? We know that every high school and community is different. So we've designed Second Step High School to integrate within a variety of schedules and environments. You can adapt the learning to fit the needs of your students, and you can adapt the pacing of the overall implementation to fit the needs of your school. We made it flexible to ensure every school and every student can be set up for success. Relevance is key. High school students are facing challenges and developmental opportunities that are unique to this age. With 4 pathways that prioritize a sense of belonging, relationship building, effective coping and problem solving, autonomy, and positive well-being, the learning is shaped by student feedback, was designed using a culturally responsive framework, and is highly tailored to adolescent social emotional needs based on the most relevant, age-appropriate, and up-to-date research. And last, the program is easy for adolescents to embrace. It's integrated into academic learning and includes elements of voice and choice for students. It connects to their lives, their learning, and their perspectives, and incorporates school-wide practices that focus on a positive school climate. Strategies, routines, and activities reach every learner in a variety of engaging ways so that it feels authentic to them. Second Step High School really focuses and simplifies the process by tying together resources for leaders, educators, and students within a framework that is focused and streamlined, can be integrated into existing systems and structures, and has an aligned and scaffolded structure. It's a game plan that's easy to follow, where everyone's in alignment as the school community progresses through the learning together. And so now a few nuts and bolts to help you take the next step in bringing social emotional learning to your school or district. First off, Second Step High School is now available for purchase, something we're super excited about. And we would love to talk to you about purchasing the program and want to make sure that you know that we are temporarily offering introductory pricing that will give you a 20% savings if you buy Second Step High School through June 30th. With all of our digital programs, including Second Step High School, you have 1, 3, and 5-year subscription options with built-in savings. One license fits any configuration of grades 9 through 12 at your site. For a single site, pricing starts from $25.95, and there are additional savings when you purchase for multiple sites. And with that said, I'm going to pass it off over to Jen, who's going to go over some additional resources for you.
I hope this has inspired you to think about social emotional learning for high school and to learn more. So I've got a couple of resources for you. First, if you'd like to dive into the details, you can take a look at the scope and sequence as well as the research summary. Both are available on our website. And in fact, here's an easy way to get those resources and a whole lot more about the all-new Second Step High School. To get the latest updates and access resources, just use this QR code that will take you to our dedicated page for Second Step High School. And as always, I want to leave you with our contact information. Please visit our website to check out high school, but also if you are interested in social emotional learning for pre-K through grade 8, bullying prevention and out of school time, resources for K-5, child protection for pre-K to 5, and adult SEL for K through 12. So please call us or email us anytime. I always like to joke that we are not the cable company or your cell phone provider. We actually like it when you call us. So please do call or email anytime. And for district leaders over multiple sites, we have a special invitation for you. So please use the URL secondstep.org/district consultation. And fill out a quick form to get connected to dedicated Second Step Partnerships Manager for your state. When you work with us, whether it's an email or a phone call, or if you're working closely with your education partnerships and your success teams, You can count on us to be there with you from soup to nuts, as they say, as you plan, implement, and sustain your initiatives over time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and for Dr. Curry and Tyler for presenting. I'd also like to give a big shout out to all of our research and development teams that created this brand new program. It is not every day that we get to launch a new program at Committee for Children. It is something we really take a lot of pride, and all hands in the whole organization help to bring to fruition. Many of you have been asking for high school for all these years, so I hope that you'll take a look at the website, try out some of those activities, and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. So with that, I will say goodbye for now. Please join us for another webinar in the future, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, everyone.